Hello, I'm Menno from HDashboards, and today we're going to take a look at motion sensors. Motion sensors are one of the most basic things people get in their smart home. They usually get a smart bulb, and when they have a smart bulb, then they are getting sick of calling Google and saying lights on, lights off. They add a motion sensor. These are most likely, I think, the most easiest way to get started with smart homes and what most people do. But there's a big flaw with motion sensors. You don't always want the light to turn on, especially not when there's enough sunlight. You don't want the light to turn off when you're still in the room, like sitting on a couch watching a movie or sitting behind your desk on a computer, and the light just turns randomly off. We're going to solve these issues today. So we're going to use the Homey Pro as a hub and advanced flows to show how we can fix these issues really easy. I will explain you what's going wrong and how we can solve them. And we will start with the very basics. So if you're a more of advanced user, feel free to skip the video to a bit in the later parts, but I will teach you some tricks while we're going through all the steps in the video. So let's get started. We first create a flow, and we will create a event flow. Because that's what we're going to use today. And for this day, I'm going to use my overpass bulb and overpass motion sensor. I know that's not the correct naming, but when I started my smart home, my English was even more terrible than it is right now. So that's what we're going to go with for now. So when, and I'm using here the Phillips Hue without bridge app. You can use whatever you want. It can be the normal Philips Hue app. It can be any motion sensor. It can be from IKEA, Akara, Eevee, whatever. Every motion sensor will practically work with this video. So let's follow along. When the motion sensor in the overpass has a, let's see, the motion alarm turned on, then we want a light to turn on. In my case, this will be the Philips Hue without bridge, bulb overpass turn on. Perfect. Now we're going to right click and duplicate both cards and drag them a bit down. And let's connect them up and replace them. So first replace a turn on card, because this will make sure the device is already selected, so we can easier go to the turn off card. And we do the same for the motion sensor when the motion alarm turned off. Let's save this flow called overpass. And let's talk about the current issues we already will face. So right now, the light goes on when there is motion, which is perfect. The only problem is that at least the Philips Hue motion sensors, they tend to turn on and off all the time. So my light is flickering right now. So we're going to solve this issue. We're going to solve this issue with a countdown. And for that, we're going to use the countdown app. That's made by Ralph van Doren. It's a community app. You can just find it on the Homey App Store. Just install it, and I'll show you how we are going to use it right now. So what we're going to do is when the motion turned off, we're going to not turn off the light. So let's drag this a bit down and disconnect it. What we're actually going to do is fan. We're going to start a countdown. And I will explain in a bit what this will do. And we will call this overpass. I already made this video as the second time I have to record it because somehow my audio disappeared. So that's why the naming is already there. So to create something, you just type in and click it. Don't press enter, don't press out of it. It will disappear. It would not do what you want. Really type whatever name you like to give it, and make sure to press what you see or create a new one. So that's the way it works. And let's say 30 seconds for now, and later we'll explain what it does. So what we have right now, when there's motion, we turn on the light. When the motion is gone, we start a countdown of 30 seconds. Then, when the countdown reaches 0, let's see where the, oh, sorry, it's wrong card. It's when, not then. When the countdown reaches 0, well, which countdown? The one we just created, which is called overpass. So we just reuse the name. When it reaches 0, we turn off the light. Let's save it meanwhile. So this is actually not doing anything. This is just making sure that the lights turn off 30 seconds later. So there is a little trick that will solve our issue. We're going to add a, let's think, fan card, and then the countdown, and then we pause the countdown timer. And we reuse the same name. Overpass. So what this does, I will try to explain it. It can be a bit hard to get in the first try, but that's okay. That's okay. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel, like, and use the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. When there's motion, we turn on the bulb, and if there is any running countdown, this card will only do it when there's running countdown, otherwise there's nothing to pause. Then we pause the timer. This means that when we already have a 30 seconds countdown, it gets paused. It will get paused. Paused? Yeah, paused. When the motion turns off, we are going to start the countdown again from 30 seconds. So it will go back to 30 seconds. When the time reaches 0, so there has been no new motion in 30 seconds, then the light turns off. This is perfect. It's way more reliable already. So you can tweak some with this value. It can be 30 seconds, it can be a minute, it can be 5 minutes, whatever you want. Just make sure that when there's no motion for so long, then the lights turn off. Now we're going to add one card that will solve another issue. We're going to make sure that the light doesn't turn on when it's too bright, when there's sunlight inside, when it's daytime. And we're not going to do this with hours, we're going to do this with luminance. Luminance is where light, how can you say that, when the amount of light is measured. Luckily, a Phillips Hue sensor already has this. Actually, a lot of motion sensors already have this, so we can just use that. And I will show you how. You don't have to follow this step, I just like this step. So the luminance is a value you have to check, and there is not a real answer for it. It depends on in which corner your motion sensor is. It's facing what way, how much light you even prefer in your house. We're just going to take a look at it. So what we're going to do, I select these cards, I drag them a bit further, and I'm going to disconnect the motion and turn on. Between them, I will add a AND card. And I'm going to do AND. Number is less than number. I see I have to do them even farther away. And I'll connect this up. So I'll connect the top one to the turn on. So only when the statement is true, we continue with the flow, we turn it on, and we pause the timer if there's one running. Now, we need to use the luminance. And in this case, I will of course use the luminance of the overpass sensor, which is this current sensor. And it's less than what? So this is a number, as I told you, which we cannot really see, or there's not a real value that works for everyone. So what I like to do is I like to go to the insights of Homey. So you can just press this insights button. I've opened it in a different tab to show it easier. And we're going to type in luminance. And then I'm going to check the overpass sensor. Now I can see, make sure also that the time value is put to last 24 hours. I can see the luminance of the past 24 hours, and now I can choose when my light should turn on. As I can see from 9, it was a pretty bright day, so from 9:15 it was pretty light in the house, and now it's getting dark outside, so it's true, it's getting low. Now I'm just going to look a bit on this value, on which edge do I want the light to turn off. I think around 9:30 is still fine, and the rest is a bit above 30. I think I will take 25 as a value, which is a bit of the middle line. This is 20, bit higher, 25 or 20, something like that. What is this lowest point? 27, 32. 31, yeah, 25 it is. So let's go back to the flow, type in 25, and that's it. Save it, and it's done. When there's motion, and the luminance is less than 25, so that's only in these parts of the graph and in these parts, so really only at nighttime, then the light turns on. If there is any countdown going on, we pause it. If there's no motion anymore, we always start a countdown, and when it reaches 0, we turn off the bulb. So this way, we're not using the light during the day when we don't need it. And we're almost there. This is already starting to be very nice, very helpful, and starting to like it. Now we're going to make it really advanced with a bonus step. The thing I still hate about this current flow is that the light can turn off randomly when I'm watching a movie sitting on a couch. And then the light goes off because there was no motion for 30 seconds. And now we're going to even solve that issue. So what we're going to do, when there is no motion for 30 seconds, we're not going to turn off the light, but we're going to replace this card, and we're going to dim to. Dim to what? Like 30%. And this is awesome. Let's bring this card a bit closer to make it more beautiful. And then I'm going to start a different timer. So we're going to duplicate this card. And I'm going to call this overpass off for now. It doesn't really matter. So as I type it in, I press this. I don't press enter. I don't click it out of it. I just really press down, and then I will type in 10 seconds. Now I can duplicate the reaches 0, which you can do by either duplicate or Control C, Control V. And now I will select my new countdown. When it reaches 0, then I want to turn off the light. So I'm going to duplicate this one. I will give more explanation soon. And then I will replace it with a turn off card. To now fix one of the last issues, we're not going to turn on the card, because since we put it to 30% here, when it turns on, it will always turn on to 30%. We're going to change this card into a dim to 100% card. And that's it. And now I'm going to explain what will happen. When there's motion detected and there's not enough light from the sun, we will make the bulb 100% and we start the countdown. And we stop the countdown, stop the countdowns if any is running. When there's no motion anymore, we start the countdown for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, we're going to dim the light to 30% and start another countdown. The other countdown is 10 seconds, and after 10 seconds, it turns off. So we need to add one card actually. We need to duplicate this one. And we need to make sure we also pause the new countdown. So also the overpass off. So make sure both countdowns get paused when there's motion detected. Otherwise they can still turn off randomly, and that's not what you want. So now we're complete. What we have now is motion, not enough light, turn them on. Make sure that other countdowns are stopped, not running anymore. And that's perfect. Then when the motion alarm turned off, we start a countdown of 30 seconds. Then after 30 seconds, we dim the light to 30% brightness. Then we start the last countdown, and when that one reaches 0, we turn the lights off. Now you always get a visual warning. You will be in your room, you will see the lights go dimming to 30%, and you can like choose to wave so the lights go back on again, or you just maybe are not in the room anymore and they will turn off. This is perfect. This is how I always like my motion sensors. I hope you learned a lot from this video. Please leave a comment for any questions or just feedback or just positivity. I always like that. Leave a like and subscribe and tap the bell icon. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one.